J. Cole was recently on A Safe Place with Lil Yachty, and he had
I like that name, A Safe Place.
Yeah, he was recently on A Safe Place with Lil Yachty, and he had I'm gonna call it a segment for lack of a better phrase, for lack of a better term. He had a segment in there where he was talking about how he grew up and the people who he saw as the icons in the rap game, and he grew up in an era where the Soulja Boys of the world and the Snap music was coming out, and he was just like, "Yo, like this isn't what I love. This is not what I see hip hop as being." But then came out and said, "You know what? You can look at these guys and learn from them because it's something that they know that you don't know, and you can really appreciate this. And you actually like this shit. Like if you really think about it, you actually like this music because you out with your boys and you dancing and doing your thing." So Soulja Boy, in classic Soulja Boy fashion, goes off the handle and goes off on J. Cole, acting like he called him out and was talking junk about his music and didn't respect him and all of these different things, bro. So D-Lo, how do you feel about what J. Cole said, number one? And do you think that Soulja Boy misinterpreted what he said and didn't really warrant the type of blow up that he had on his Instagram live? What you think, D-Lo?
So I think what J. Cole said, what Jermaine said, is 100% true. Because when Soulja Boy and that type of music first came out, we all were like, "What is this?" Like,
facts.
This ain't hip hop. This ain't music. But then as it began to play, and then at that time we were in clubs and whatnot. So as you hear it in clubs and everybody dancing, doing the Yule, it's like, oh, this shit kind of dope. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and that's exactly what J. Cole said. He was like, it took some time to grow on you, but you know, this is what hip hop evolved to, and the phase that it was going through. And we were in the dance era of hip hop. It wasn't the lyricism that we were used to. It was, get you on in the feel good music. It wasn't the hardcore rap and all that. It was truly a feel good time. And Soulja Boy did his thing from coming from YouTube to being a multi-platinum selling artist. So sure. I definitely feel J. Cole was right in his statements. As far as DeAndre Way and his feelings about what J. Cole said, this is a classic example of when you just read the headlines and don't read the full article. And we're all guilty of it. We all fall for the clickbait. He probably saw a snippet or somebody said, "Man, you see J. Cole dissing you on Yachty's podcast," or whatever that was. And, he was like, "Nah." And then he just go see the little clip of him saying he didn't like Soulja Boy music and whatnot. And he off the rails. But we all guilty of it. You know what I'm saying? You miss points and you don't understand what the full context of the story is. And so I feel like he did blow this out of proportion because he only heard what he wanted to hear, negating the rest of the statement that Jermaine Lamar Cole made.
We call it our governments today. Yeah, but I mean, I feel you on that, because from what J. Cole said was like, and just to give Soulja Boy his props, and he's been on a tour over the past few years, just trying to get his flowers. He sounds like somebody else we know, but I ain't gonna talk about that. But he's been trying to get his flowers over the last couple of years now, going on Breakfast Club and going on different podcasts and doing tours and just being on Twitch and being on Instagram Live, just like calling everybody out for jacking his flow, jacking his style, yada yada yada. But just to give him his flowers though, like, the Crank That Soulja Boy, She Got a Don't, Kiss Me Through the Phone. All of them songs were fire, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Swag.
Pretty Boy Swag. What? Bro, you had all your cappers in there going crazy. The Pretty Boy Swag in it. Yeah, put my swag on. Like, he was like his music was dope. And does he deserve his flowers? 100%.
100%.
His music was fire, and he was the first rapper to blow up off YouTube and actually get a record deal, and he did it all by himself. Did it all by
Speak on
himself.
it.
So he deserves his flowers because he was a fire ass artist back in the day when we were in that you know what I'm saying? Like the snap and roll. Like, come on, bro. Like everybody, you know what I'm saying?
Going down. All that music.
All
it was
of
a
that.
feel good era.
It was
man.
a feel good era.
He introduced us to that.
He indeed did. He introduced us to the feel good era, the dance music type of era. He introduced us to that faux show. And I can't tell you how many times I was in the club like this, and she got a dong. Oh shit! Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I was in. And that song was fun, man. Come on, we was in college, bro. We'll be all right. But I'm like, bro, like, so it's like, dog, like, but for him to misinterpret what J. Cole said is like, he literally gave him props in the statement that he made. He was like, when he said Soulja Boy tell him, he was like, yo, it's a classic to me. It's kind of funny to say because it's a classic to me now. But it was in one instance where I had to put away my preconceived notion of what hip hop is, but just because the rappers that I love and that I look up to and that I idolize don't rap like this and don't have music like this, doesn't mean that this isn't art within itself. And actually, you like this shit, and actually, you can learn from these dudes because they know something about the game that you don't know. So it's like,
I mean, it was. I will say this: the grand scheme of the statement that J. Cole made, he was not dissing Soulja Boy, but it was a typical Fayetteville backhand comment.
You think? Well, yeah, in a sense, because he was like, a lot of the guys that I was hanging around, they liked it, and I was like, man, this shit, you know what I'm saying? This
it was a typical Fayetteville backhand comment.
It was. I agree, but it's one of those things where it's like,
but he didn't mean anything by it though.
Yeah,
my bad. One of those, I'm sorry, man.
No, you're good. But you do get into a situation where you grow up and you realize that, like, regardless of how you feel about this music, you actually like this shit. And within art, regardless if it's music, regardless if it's painting, regardless if it's podcasting, whatever it is, any content that you put out, there's going to be different methods to the madness. There's going to be different ways you can put that same content out. And J. Cole, we all know, is a conscious rapper. He's a lyrical rapper. He's been on a rampage lately on features going crazy. We know what type of rapper J. Cole is, but we also know what type of rapper that Soulja Boy is. And they are on two opposite ends of the spectrum, 100%. But that's not to say that Soulja Boy's art isn't as great as J. Cole's art, and vice versa. So him as an artist was able to say, look, even though I didn't like this shit before, I realize now that this art is something that everybody loves, and I actually like it too. I'm just putting on the front low key. Like, you a hater. That's the segue. Like, you a hater for real, because you know you like this music. You know you out here dancing to it, snap and roll. You out here doing that in the club with your boys. You know you like this. So why is you hating? So you can learn from these dudes, and you can actually, but bruh, Soulja Boy was talking about fighting. He called out J. Cole. He called out Big Sean again. He was talking about everybody, like, all y'all could get it. Like, nobody know who you are. Come on, Soulja Boy. Come on, Soulja. Come on, Soulja Boy. You know who J. Cole is. I think
he was saying nobody knows who you are, and this is what grabbed people's attention. Is he said this is your first number one single. You had to hop on Drake's song to get a number one single. I had multiple. And it's like, okay, yeah, this may be J. Cole's first number one single, but everybody, if you're a hip hop artist, you're a rap artist, you pretty much know who J. Cole is. He's one of the hottest right now. And like you said, been on a tear the last year and a half on the features and whatnot, waiting on the album to drop, because I feel like he does this to us all the time. He goes away, but he does features, and then you anticipate the next album. So waiting on that new album to come out, because I feel like it's going to one up. Yep, it's going to one up.
It's going to be a bundle. It's going to be a banger. And yeah, and Soulja, I mean, like you said, he deserves his flowers. It ain't like we not sitting here saying that Soulja is whack. We saying that, yes, you had multiple number one hits. Yes, you had the dance music era going crazy, the feel good era going crazy with your music. But at the same time, come on, bro. You know who Cole is, bro. Like, you know who he is. You even said it you even hinted to it in a couple of your rants that you knew who he was. You know what I'm saying? Like, but come on, man. Like, everybody know who J. Cole is, bro.
I mean, you can't sit here and front like he is addressing it, if he's addressing something that he said, apparently he knows who he is. It's counterproductive what you said. You just said nobody knows who you are, but you're addressing some shit that he said. So if we was to come on this segment right now talking about Soulja Boy and say Soulja Boy was trash, it never was a good rapper, whatnot, it go off out one ear out of us, because we're, in the grand scheme of things, in the podcast space, in the entertainment space, we're nobody. But because of who J. Cole is, it's like you got to address it.
You got to address it, man. And it took for Nicki Minaj to get on the live with Soulja Boy to say, look, man, like, you really misinterpreted what he said, and he was actually giving you props, and you need to, like, here you go flying off the handle again because of something that you feel like somebody said about you, and now you you know what I'm saying, you crashing out for what? Like, what you crashing out for? But
the funny thing about that interaction was she was like, "Do you have a girl?"
Do you have somebody that loves you? He was like, "Nah, I got a baby mama. You know what's going on."
And then he finished it and was like, "I'm tripping." Oh, man,
I'm tripping again. You right, Nikki. You right. If the queen said, then the queen said, man. I got to have to go out and apologize to my boy, but
he did apologize.
He did apologize,
back. And it takes a big person to do that, you know.
For sure. But Soulja just crashed out, bro, for no reason, and but just like D-Lo said, I can understand why Soulja crashed out, because it was kind of like a backhanded, like, this nigga low key back in the day, that shit was whack to me. To me, it was whack, right. But everybody else loved it. Yeah. But it's older. But it was a backhanded. It was a backhanded. You know what I'm saying? Diss a little bit, but
it was a light. It wasn't a heavy backhand, but it was a light.
It was a light little tap. It was a light little tap. But they were having a conversation around, when Lil Yachty came out, and the type of music that it was, and they actually listened to one of Lil Yachty's first songs on the actual podcast, and J. Cole was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? He didn't really say it, but you could see it in his face, like, yo, this shit whack, like, low key, like, this ain't, but it's just not what he likes, and it's not what he thinks hip hop should be. And people do have their preconceived notions of what hip hop should be. Like the Get Off My Lawn guys, like the old school dudes is gonna listen to Jay and Andre and Pac and Biggie and Nas and all those guys who were lyrical rappers and conscious rappers. And I probably was one of them too, because I don't listen to a whole bunch of mumble rap, and I had to, Migos even had to grow on me, because I was like, what the fuck is they talking? I can't get with this. Like, what are they saying? I don't even know what they're saying.
It's all in the ad-libs.
Mama, like, it is for real. Yeah. It really is. But like, things grow on you as you go, and everything always evolves. And art is one of those things that's going to evolve for a lifetime, bro. So we're going to eventually be able to get into different types of rap, man. So I mean, it is what it is. Thank you for watching this video. If you made it this far and you like what you see, there's a video on the screen right here. Make sure you click that and view that. We think you're going to love it. Also, we're almost at that 450 subscriber mark, man. We need 4 more. So hit that subscribe button right there as well. And we're on all your streaming platforms, wherever you find your podcast.